So I'm hoping I'm not going to scare this guy away, but there is a gorgeous little green bug on the old apple tree here. And get nice and close. That's the sort of thing you're looking for. That little beauty there. So I've come back inside now, and I've now got myself set up. So I've got my A4 sketch pad page. I've got my reference picture that I've taken outside. I've cropped it so I can see the insect better. I've left it on an angle. I haven't righted the symmetry of the bug. I've left it at an angle because I quite like that. I'm going to make sure that my drawing takes up the whole of the page as much as I can do. And if I was to draw a line down the centre of the body, you can see that it has an angle across the page, a bit like that. That's probably a bit steep, but it's a bit like that. What I'm going to do with this drawing is to start it in pencil, where I'm going to start to get my proportions right. I want to make sure the proportions of each section of the body are as accurate as possible. I've just worked out I actually need to leave some space for the wings, so I'm going to make it a bit smaller, more like that. And then we've got the thorax, which is the middle section of the insect. It's kind of like that, and then the head. So it's more like that. That's the sort of size we want to be working at. The wings come off at an angle. I probably haven't left myself enough room, but you can see. So I'm going to start looking now at details and where those details of the body join. Sorry, where the details like the wings, where do the wings join the body? Kind of there. And you can see I'm holding my pencil with my hand really over the body of the pencil so that I can use this light touch. It gives me the ability to draw with my whole arm, not just with my hand. And the eyes, we've got the eyes here. Now what I'm going to do is draw all these lines so that they are nice and symmetrical and mapped out. And then what I plan is to use a pen over the top, and I'm going to ink in my lines so that I can then have a perfect ink drawing to then add colour at a later date. Now let's have a look at it. He's got his front legs slightly crossed here. Come over like that. There's another section there. And his foot. The other leg is coming out. This isn't actually symmetrical, which is slightly off-putting. He's got a leg that comes out in that direction, which is this one here. I'm looking really, really carefully all the time at my photograph. Over here we've got another leg that comes out slightly under that wing. It goes off, and then it kind of backs down towards the tree that it's sitting on, and then the foot comes out like that. There's a darker detail here, almost like a shadow. And then over here, I think I've got his body a bit too, the abdomen is a bit too long. I'm going to just correct that while I can. Never be afraid of correcting your drawings. That is a very important part of what we do. There's a shadow from this body, which is quite descriptive in its shape. I'm going to try and put that in. So the edge of the head comes over here, and then there's a shadow that cuts across this leg, which is cast by the wing. And I've gone onto the other page. I'm slightly cheating, but that doesn't matter. It's a sketchbook. It doesn't matter. You can do whatever you like. But this is. I just wanted to show you this because it's the scale that's really important. There's a shadow there from his body on the tree trunk. Okay, so we've got that there, got that there. We've got a little bit of highlight on his body here, which shines. And there's a shadow which comes along Right, now I've got that, I can start to put my detail in a bit more. So still with a pencil, looking to show where I would put ink lines. Try and draw a nice curve. I'm probably going to speed this up in parts for you because otherwise you're going to fall asleep watching me draw. And the wing has a little indent there. Now the thorax, the middle section of the fly's body, it's as if it has two parts, but it does actually only have one, I think. Right, so now I can start to put in my ink lines, and I'm using a Rotring drawing pen. Let's draw a smooth curve there, it's not very good. And really everywhere where I've done a pencil line, I want to try and put an ink line instead, so I'm just drawing over the top of what I've got. On such a big drawing this is quite tricky, so you're going to have to be really careful. Just talking about the photograph that I've taken here, if you've watched the videos that I've put up of me in the garden, it's quite difficult finding good photographs to draw from. So if you've had trouble trying to find a decent picture, it's really fine just to download a picture of an insect from the internet, but I'd like you to at least try to have a go at finding your own pictures, because that's an important part of being an artist. There we go, starting to take shape. Now on the picture you'll see there are various different bits that are actually black, and I'm going to use the ink that I've got here and just ink those in so that they are the colour they should be. And nothing wrong with making adjustments to your drawing as you go. Remember, we're doing sort of mini beast drawings, so what we're trying to do is really look at the fine detail. Have a look at the shape of the foot and decide how it works. Because if you understand how something works, very often it'll help you to draw it properly. Let's make that line a bit thicker. And here there's a bit of detail that I can actually draw in with a bit of shadow. Can use some crosshatch shading just in that place, and a few other bits where there are shadows on the body. Have a go at the detail in the eyes, see if I can get that right. I'm going to make these bits around here black, even though they're kind of brown colour. I think the contrast making them black against the white would look really good. There we go, there's a bit more detail in here. Comes down to where the eye sits. I can draw that in. And you can see that once I start putting in tone, it starts to look like a 3D fly body, and the drawing makes more sense. this eye looks a little bit small, so I'm just going to reinforce that area there, make it slightly bigger. See if I can get that leg in. Now you're all going to have your way of doing this, and you'll have varying degrees of success. But I think what I want to try and help you to understand is that it doesn't matter if you don't get this right first time. You might feel that the first one you do is not coming out how you want it to be, so you can have another go. It's absolutely fine to have several goes at this. I'm just going to do one because I want it to be a quick demonstration, but if I was going to do this as a project, I'd probably produce 3 or 4 of them. It's perfectly normal, and you mustn't think that one go is all you have to do, so have several goes. There's a bit of detail here I need to concentrate on. That can come over near to here. Make an adjustment here, you'll notice it's got a leg that's crossing over on the front of him. When I drew it with the pencil I was trying to make it more symmetrical, but I don't think it works as well, so I'm just putting it back to how it is in the photograph. And I can show his leg coming out there, and the foot is a bit shorter on this side, so I want to pay attention to that detail. And then there's a shadow. I'm going to draw it slightly lighter here. Right, let's concentrate on that shadow line underneath. Do a little bit of this, and then I'm going to pause it and flip on so you're not getting bored. I'm going to shade this with cross hatching underneath the fly's head. You can do this with a biro or a fine tip pen quite easily. They work equally well, just that I like drawing with this one. You can probably hear my cat in the background. So now all the ink is done, it's time to use an eraser to rub out as much of the pencil as we can. Try and leave it nice and clean. So all the ink lines really sharp well. Have to be a little bit careful when you've been using ink that the ink is dry before you start to rub out the pencil lines. Otherwise, you can guess what will happen. You'll smudge everything. Okay, that's coming off quite nicely. Right. So there we have it, ready for the next stage, which we'll probably do next week.